All right. First off, I was wondering about the armament of it. I was always curious about that.
Well, the B-29, of course, was a big plane. It had a crew of at least 10. It had two tops, not on this model here because they stripped it of everything to make it lighter to carry, so they could carry the bomb. But normally, it would have two turrets on top and two on the bottom, and they were controlled remotely from inside.
So these were like remotely controlled camera turret type things?
They weren't, yeah, kind of, yeah, because the guns were the gunners were actually uh, in the vicinity of where the turrets were, but they didn't actually sit in the turrets like they did on later models like this one here, the B-25. You see that's glass there.
And they sat in there?
Yeah, the gunner would actually stand up inside the turret and his head would be exposed, whereas this one here, he's not exposed. It was remotely operated. And there was also a tail gunner, and he actually did sit in the tail.
Okay, so he sat in the tail like the other ones here?
Yeah, the ones that had tail gunners, the tail gunner actually sat in the tail. Um, the planes like the B-17, which is over here, this first one, had the top turret, the chin turret on the front on the nose. That was actually controlled by the
Pilot or co-pilot?
no, wasn't the pilot or co-pilot. It was the navigator. He operated that one. And then it had the two waist gunners, and a tail gunner, and on the bottom it had a belly gunner.
Okay.
And he actually had to get in that ball, and it was usually the smaller guys that would fit in there because it was a very small confined space.
And I'm guessing they weren't able to get out easy.
No, in the B-17, if it got hit and damaged and they couldn't rotate the gun down, which would expose the hatch, he was stuck in there until they landed. Whereas the B-24, this one here, the ball turret could be pulled up into the plane.
All right. Do you know how many B-29s were made?
It was, I think it was somewhere in the area of 7,000,
So,
but it may have been more. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know it was quite a few of them, and it also later flew during the Korean War, and they upgraded it slightly with a slightly bigger fuselage, better engines, more powerful engines, and longer range, and called it the B-50.
B-50. Got it.
And also there was one B-29 that was captured by the Soviets. Actually, it was a damaged plane where the crew had to make an emergency landing in the Soviet Union, and at the time they were neutral. So what the Soviets did was they took the plane apart bolt by bolt and made an exact copy of it. So they had their own version of a B-29, right down to all the repair rivets.
That's copying.
Yeah.
I guess it's also flattery. Okay, so about the Evan, the Enola Gale,
Enola Gay.
and there was the car one. It was second one.
Boxcar.
Boxcar.
Yeah. BOCKS was or BOCK was the name of the pilot, Bach.
And car.
Yeah, so it's kind of a play on word, boxcar, and there was a train on the side for the logo.
Got it. They were stripped down pretty much of everything but the bomb.
They stripped, they took all the gun turrets out. The only guns that they had was the tail gun, and they took out some of the navigation systems because the navigator on board would had a lot of his courses already on paper, on maps, so he wouldn't need too much there, but they could still navigate otherwise. But it was stripped down of everything. They took out all the unnecessary bomb racks because there's two bomb bays in the B-29. They just needed one. So they stripped the one that wasn't being used down completely and put fuel in. I think that in the case of Boxcar, I think it was either, I forget which one it was, but in one of them they put auxiliary fuel tanks in it.
How high could these fly, altitude-wise?
They could fly pretty high. They could fly